Madam Chair. On January 11, 2017, Congressman Steve Cohen, our former colleague, Congressman Jimmy Duncan, and I wrote to our previous chairman asking that the committee convene a hearing on school bus safety, but he did not answer our request. I want to thank Chairwoman Norton and Chairman DeFazio for your focus on this critical issue and for convening today's hearing. On November 1st, 2016, 6 people were killed in Baltimore, in my hometown, when a school bus crashed into a car, then struck a pillar in a cemetery, and finally collided head-on with a public transit bus. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated this crash and a crash in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and adopted a report on May 22nd, 2018, addressing these 2 accidents. The report stated, and I quote, "Although the specific safety issues differed, the crashes shared one common factor: poor driver oversight by both the school districts and the contracted motor carriers, which resulted in unsafe operation of school buses," end of quote. The report found that the driver of the Baltimore school bus had, quote, "repeated license revocations and suspensions over several decades," end of quote. It had also uncovered instances in which the driver fraudulently obtained his license, as well as numerous moving violations. In addition, the driver had medical conditions, including a history of seizures that should have disqualified him from driving a school bus. In March 2017, the NTSB recommended that the Baltimore City Public Schools request a performance audit of the Transportation Department and then take corrective actions to improve internal controls. NTSB also recommended that the Maryland State Department of Education review the state regulations to clarify disqualifying conditions and require notification to the State Department of Education regarding all drivers who are determined to be not qualified to drive a school bus. NTSB also made several recommendations to the Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration. Dr. Poland, what is the status of the recommendations you made to the Baltimore City school system and to the state of Maryland?
So those early and urgent recommendations have certainly been updated. We received correspondence from Baltimore City Public Schools about the performance audit, and based on the correspondence and their actions, we have closed that recommendation with an acceptable action. There's another recommendation, as you mentioned, to Baltimore City Public Schools that they take corrective actions, and that recommendation is still open while they continue to do those corrective actions, and that is in an acceptable status. The recommendation to the Maryland State Department of Education addressing the COMAR, the Code of Maryland Regulations, is in a status of open, acceptable response. So Maryland has communicated with us that they are working on that recommendation and they are in the process of implementing it, and we found that acceptable.
According to a report in the Baltimore Sun from March 2nd, 2018, the results of the audit of the Baltimore school system showed, and I quote, "an accumulation of errors, including, quote, a systemic absence of leadership over an extended period of time," end of quote, and a failure, quote, "to provide due diligence over the systems," end of quote, "that were in place. Have steps been taken to address these findings and to implement corrective measures that will ensure no more individuals are able to drive school buses with disqualifying conditions in Maryland?"
Maryland is currently working on implementing that, and I think importantly from that investigation, because we were able to share that on a nationwide level, other states are looking at those recommendations and examining their own systems to ensure that in other states, they're having appropriate reporting and that action is being taken at the local level to remove drivers that are unsafe for a variety of reasons, as you mentioned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cummings. Appreciate your attending.